Today I'm going to share with you 7 household items that you can use to get more sounds on the drums. Hopefully this can help spark some creativity and inspire some new ideas, so let's get into it. The first one is tape. This is a very common one, and usually every venue or sound engineer will have tape lying around somewhere in the building. If you play a house drum kit or someone else's drum kit and you find that the drums are a bit too ringy for your liking, just place a small piece of tape or two on the drums that you want to dampen. I like to make a small fold in the middle of the piece of tape. That way it's really easy to take off, as sometimes if the tape has a really strong hold on it, it can be very difficult to take off. Another great thing about tape is that you can place it underneath the drums. So for example, if your floor tom is just got some of that unwanted growl that you want to get rid of, just place 1 to 3 pieces of tape underneath the drum, and this can really help to reduce that ring. This is especially useful in the studio. I'm sure we've all had that where the sound engineer says, the floor tom is ringing a little bit too much. This is a really good trick for just reducing some of that unwanted growl on the floor tom. The next item is a wallet to put on the drums. So this is a really common one. I'm sure you've seen it plenty of times before, but if you just place a wallet on the edge of a snare drum, it can reduce some of those unwanted overtones and you get that nice, dry, punchy, really crisp sound for the snare drum. This is especially useful for styles like funk, hip-hop, neo-soul, or even drum and bass, where you just want that really nice, dry snare sound that cuts through, but doesn't have much sustain to the note. Another trick I like to use to stop the wallet moving around, for example, you might be in a recording situation and you can't really tamper with it because you don't want to make excess noise. If the wallet has a little latch on it, if you grab one of those alligator clips, you can just alligator clip the latch to the rim of the snare, and that'll stop the wallet moving around. You can just use a piece of tape or a piece of moon gel underneath the wallet to stop it moving around, but I personally find that the alligator clips are really quick. You just clip them on and you're ready to go. You can also use this for small purses or any card holders and put these on the toms and floor toms as well if you like that really dry sound overall on your drum kit. Speaking of alligator clips, you can use these on the cymbals to get a drier sound if that's the sound you're after. For example, if you're playing a style like drum and bass and you don't want the cymbal to be ringing out much, but you want the attack, just chuck a few alligator clips or even like a crocodile clip on the cymbal and you're good to go. You can also use these on your cymbals to dampen them if you're worried about neighbors. Now, putting these on won't really reduce the volume of the cymbals. However, I believe that if you take away some of the ringiness, they can be perceived as quieter or less annoying, even though we all know cymbals are the greatest thing ever. The next item is a towel. I always make sure to have one of these with me on every single gig. I usually just leave it in my cymbal bag, but it's such a handy tool, especially if you're playing backline or someone else's drum kit and you want to tweak the sound of the kick drum or other drums. This is great for dampening the kick drum. Sometimes the kick might be a little too ringy, or you might just like tuning the bass drum up high, but you don't want the excess ring. Roll up a towel and place it behind the pedal up against the skin of the kick drum, and you're good to go. This also works well on the other drums, and being a towel, it's very flexible, so you can fold the towel in or out, depending on how much you want to dampen or open up the drum sound. I usually don't fully cover the surface with the towel, unless that's the sound you're going for, as this does minimize the rebound you get from the drum. However, if you fold the towel a few times, you can lay it on approximately 1/3 of the drum head surface, and that way you can still play on the actual drum head, but still getting the dampening effect from the towel. If you find the towel is moving around a lot while you play, you can secure it in place with the alligator clips, Seriously, these things are amazing. Or if you lay the towel down, you can place a few small cymbals and some drum accessories on the towel to keep the towel in place, and it'll also act as a small table. The next item is a sizzle for the cymbal. If you get a large keyring and some small metal chain from your local hardware store, you can cut the chain to size. Bear in mind that you want to leave a little bit extra to loop through the keyring. So then if you open up the keyring and loop the end back and through, then bring the loop to the middle of the keyring so that it isn't near the opening and won't come undone, then voila, you have a nice sizzle to place on your cymbals. I have 3 of these varying in size from small to large depending on how much sizzle I want and which cymbals I want to place them on. The next one is paper. If you grab around 10 sheets of this, throw it on the snare drum, then it will help lower the pitch and you can get that deep, punchy snare sound that we all love. If you find that the paper is moving around while you hit it on the snare drum, i.e. again, if you're in the studio and you can't afford to be readjusting the paper, then if you grab a small bit of our trusty tape and place it around all 4 edges, then you can take this trusty deep snare adapter with you in your cymbal bag to every gig and have as an option. If you want to really deepen the snare and just get that face melting sound, throw on the paper, loosen off 1 to 2 lugs closest to you and loosen off the snare wires and you're good to go. The last item is keys. So you're probably going to have a pair of keys with you on every gig because you probably drove there or you have house keys. And I thought this was just a fun one to include. If you throw them on the snare or the floor tom, you can get that real industrial metal sound. I really like it and it sounds something like this. There you have it, 7 household items that you can use to get more sounds on the drums. If you have any great items that you like to use to get sounds out of the drums, chuck them in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, I really appreciate it. Have a wonderful week and I'll see you in the next video.